Quick disclaimer, some of my boys told me that this might offend some people, and if it does, my bad. But today, I'm making some badass crucifixion crosses for your action figures on Freshly Baked Props. Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of Freshly Baked Props. As always, I am Tony, and today, like I said, we're making badass crucifixion crosses. These things were really easy to make, and they were dirt cheap, so the episode is not very long. I haven't painted them yet, and I'll explain why at the end, but without further ado, here is the tutorial, and I will see you guys at the end.
So it's real simple shit. You just take these dowel sticks I got from Hobby Lobby, the square ones, and you gouge them out with a chisel. I did that on my live stream, so if you can go back on my archives, you'll see I live streamed that part. And then you just crazy glue it in place, and then just take this hemp rope. I got this also from Hobby Lobby for $10. I think they have a smaller roll for $8. Go for it. But I made a slip knot here so I can make so I can pull it tight when I get it on top of the over the cross, over the piece of wood. As you can see, the cross in front of you, I'm basically going to replicate the same design. And like I said, it's not real rocket science. So you just take the rope, see the slip knot, and now I can pull it as tight as I want. I plan on making a noose, like a hangman's whole platform thing too with this whole thing. This is going to be like an area where they crucify kings and like warriors and shit like that. So it's going to be like a whole mountain full of like these kinds of stuff. So I made 3 of these. But like it's simple. You just wrap it up and then put a bead of crazy glue and just lay down the string on top of it. Get a quick one. I noticed this rapid fuse that I get from Lowe's or Home Depot is really fast drying. You could get the accelerant where you just spray that and it pretty much dries instantly too, but this glue dries pretty quickly. And the new Gorilla Glue, super glue, that dries very fast too, and that's gel, so it doesn't get fucking all over the place. It's not messy. But there it is. Now you got the design in the middle. Now basically I just do the slip knot routine here, and I just wrap it around just for design or decoration. I get decorating the crucifixion. I know it sounds crazy, but basically I put it there so it would look like that's where they put your arms and shit, and they just tie your arms to it or whatever, you know, if you want to get hardcore and they're not nailing you to it or whatever. But that's why I did this part. And like I said, every now and again I would just lay a bead of glue and then just wrap the rope around it, and then when I get to the end I would just lay a last bead on it and just hold it in place until it's set. I am interested in getting that spray accelerant. I know a lot of people use it. I have never really used it, and but I always hear great things because it basically makes the glue dry almost immediately. So if you're into that, I'll link that in the description below. You can grab that too. But there it is. Very simple stuff. Now we're going to make the bases for them. And this is just that pink insulation foam that you make dioramas with. I cut one in half and then just put two more together. I didn't want a huge base. And I used my wood burning, my foam burning tool. This was okay, but it didn't really burn through the caulking or whatever I used to glue everything in place. I used that liquid nails type shit. And it was kind of pain in the ass to cut through. So what I did at some point, I think I show it here. It gets really annoying because I'm having trouble pulling the wire through, and I didn't want to break the wire because this was my only one. I didn't want to run to the store and buy a replacement. So I got really annoyed while I was doing this, and I just said fuck it, and I grabbed my work knife and I started to cut chunks off, and that worked much better. This was working good, don't get me wrong, but you have to have thin layers of that liquid nails. If it's thick, if you notice there's a bottom part that's really thick, I couldn't get the wire through. It just wouldn't melt. And it was driving me up a wall. So if you see, there's one section there on the bottom that I really couldn't cut. That's why I'm doing the top so much, because there was very thin layers in the middle. It was towards the end where it kind of to get globby and a shit ton. And I think at this point here is when I get really frustrated and I just say fuck, and I grab my work knife and I start to carve this thing up, and it just comes out much better. See, there it is right there. You say I got my work knife. Now I'm cutting off the liquid nails parts. Make sure your knife is sharp. Cut away from you. Obviously safety first. Make sure you got everything right. I'm just making sure I'm cutting away from me. I don't want to fucking hurt myself. That blade is sharp as shit. But I was only just cutting a few chunks, and then I was going to go back in with the hot wire knife just to get some cleanup details. I am going to sand it too, obviously, just to make it real clean, but it's not going to look like this, obviously. I glued a bunch of rocks and shit to it, but for right now, this is the basic shape of the base. You want to make it look like a mound of dirt, that they just stacked a mound of dirt around the cross to make it stay in place. And then see, now I go back in my wire knife, my hot knife, just to see, make it a little bit more thinner because I thought it was too bulky. Because like I said, I plan on I was gonna glue rocks to it. I knew I was gluing rocks to it, so I didn't want it to be just bulky with all this rocks. I didn't want it to be too heavy. And these things are not heavy at all, depending on how many rocks you put at the bottom. So, and the beautiful thing about the fact that you're adding real rocks, because I added a legit rocks, just went out in the yard and I got rocks. It weighs it down perfectly, so when you hang a figure from it, you don't got to worry about it falling over or anything like that. So this thing really came together pretty well, pretty quickly too. And like I said, dirt cheap. So this is all stuff I just had laying around in the house. The only things I bought were the wooden dowel sticks, and they were about $4 a pop. But each dowel stick can make you, I think, 2 crosses. So, or I think, yeah, with one stick can make you 1 full cross. So if you get like 2 or 3, that's what I did. I spent $12 and I was able to make 3. I'm just rambling out because all I'm doing is cutting this foam and shit. So it's like I said, it's not a science. It just depends on how big you want the mound to look. And then I just took a fine grit, I think 220 here, and I just went over it real simple just so I could get a good adhesion from the glue and the rocks, because I was worried about the rocks not holding because of the glue I was using. I'll show it in a second. It's essentially what I used to glue the whole thing together. So, but I used, it wasn't liquid nails, I forgot what it was. But first what I did was I took this black wash. I take half a bottle of Mod Podge and half a bottle of acrylic black paint, and I mix it together. And then this way I'm basically not only priming the foam, but I'm also sealing it, because I also, like, just in case it gets wet and everything like that, I want everything to be waterproof, because I plan on using like real waterfalls and real legit water for this diorama. So I'm double sealing everything. So that's why I make this primer myself. I just pour a little bit of acrylic. It's not like reinventing the wheel. I'm sure somebody else does it, but it's just half bottle acrylic paint, half bottle of Mod Podge matte finish. Don't get the crystal coat unless you want it to be crystal clear. And just hit your things. It'll be a really nice base coat. You can go gray too. I do gray too sometimes if I just want a nice base coat. There it is, the Power Grab, Loctite Power Grab. I have the caulking bottle and I have this small bottle. And basically, just gluing the rocks in place now. Just get a good formation of how you want. Like I said, I just took a bucket, went on my yard, found a shit ton of rocks. It wasn't that hard. I live in an area, a woody area. But if you live in like an urban area and you want to make these, just go to Home Depot. They got a bag of rocks for like $6 to $10, you know, and they're all different shapes and shit. They're for like rock gardens and shit, but you can use those. This just looked more authentic. It just looks like the people who put it together dug out a hole, stuck this in the ground, put a bunch of dirt around it, and piled a bunch of rocks into the dirt to make sure the cross doesn't fall over when they crucify the king that they're going to put out to pasture. But like I said, there's not a real art science to this. Just however you think it looks good. I was just seeing where the rocks fit better, and I was popping them in. I plan on going over it with some homemade clay made out of cardboard that I learned on YouTube. So make it look like there's a lot more dirt. I'm gonna add some grass and shit popping out. There's gonna be a lot more detail. Like, this is just bare minimum stuff here because all that stuff is a cosmetic. I'll show that when the diorama is done and in a future episode. But this is simply done right here, and this is it, guys. I didn't paint it yet, but I will. But I hope you guys liked the tutorial, and thanks for watching.
There it is, made quick, dirt cheap. Like I said, I like to make it look like it was made by hand. So that's why I like doing it this way with the rope and the chisel, cutting out the metal piece. But if you want to use a fucking like a scroll saw or like a legit fucking bandsaw, be my guest. You're a better person than I am. I like to make it look like legit. And like I said, back then they would just tie fucking 2 pieces of wood together and they hang your ass on it. So that's kind of what I was going for. The rope is real cheap at Home Depot. Get the hemp cord. Actually, I bought hemp cord at Hobby Lobby. It was like $13. I got a big ball of it. You don't gotta buy the big one. You can buy the small one. The small one for like $8 or whatever. I just got the big one. The figure is the Dark Ages Spawn figure. I bought him to take all the shit that was on him for the custom Conan figure. Again, that's an archived episode. The link is in the description below. This thing is going to be a part of a large-scale abandoned medieval village that I'm making by hand. Basically, the village is going to be made out of logs and like actual rocks and stuff like that. I'm not making anything crazy. I haven't done urban stuff yet. I'm still doing medieval stuff. I'm going to graduate to the urban shit soon, where I'm going to be making actual city buildings. I'm just not there yet. I want to do this first. But this is going to be a huge village outside, actually. It's going to be out my backyard, so it's pretty fucking sick. But I got a lot to do. I'm going to buy some skulls off this gentleman on Instagram. His name escapes me right now, but I'll link his description. I'll link all his stuff below, so you can, if you guys want to buy real awesome looking stuff, 1/12 scale skulls. So those are going to be pretty sick. I'll give you a quick review. I bought the Figma horse on eBay. It came broken. It was a pile of shit. I'll never buy one of those things again. If you're looking to buy horses for your 1/12 scale figures, whether it be Black Knight or whoever rides horses, I just saw that the Mythic Legions are released in 2 versions. One like a demon horse and a regular horse. They look 10 times better than those. I'm probably going to buy those and have an unboxing and a review. So stay tuned for that. But do not buy Figma horses. They suck. With that being said, I'm coming to a close. I'm sorry I'm rambling. I'm really baked. But like and subscribe to the channel, please. Thank you. And those who have, thank you so much. I appreciate all the support. Sorry I haven't been making videos as much as I should. I've been dealing with some personal shit. I'm finally kind of coming out of it, and I'm back on it. I haven't painted these yet. I'm going to paint and age them. I'm going to really make them look old. They obviously look brand new, and I can't have that. They got to look old as shit. And when I'm done with these things, they're going to look completely different, and I'll probably have a whole other episode of when the whole village is done, and you'll see these things completely done. But like I said, thank you guys for joining me. Like and subscribe to the channel. Watch archived episodes. Please support. And as always, guys, I will catch you on flip.